We're here with Mark of DSA, and we have a very cool FAL. Everyone's been talking about it because it was on display over at H&R at the massive PSA booth. And I think, coming straight from the horse's mouth, Mark can tell us exactly what this is and why it's so special, and that it may actually happen and be available.
Hi, my name is Mark, DSA. We have painstakingly recaptured the T48 as was in the trials provided by H&R. And there's a lot of differences between this and a regular FAL, some of them notable being the folding trigger guard, the stripper clip top cover, the forward assist charging handle. We also have the wood, of course, and the long flash hider. But we've even replicated the actual same exact opaque type of white lettering and markings. It's marked H&R, roll stamp just like the original.
One thing I said to Mike when we were looking at this at the H&R booth, I said you nailed the color on the infill. Yeah. It almost looked aged already.
We have original T48, so we really took a lot of time getting that down.
I love all the color fill. Even the tone of the white is perfect.
Got that aged antique look.
Yes.
Yeah.
Man, that looks good.
We even replicated the proof mark.
Yes. Little Easter egg, very cool.
And we'll be making this for H&R, and I think it's going to be really successful because people love the story of the T44, which we know now as the M14, and the T48, which is the FAL, and there's always a lot of conversation about the coulda, woulda, shoulda if we would have adopted this over the M14. It's a debate that still happens. It's an argument that still happens with people, and some people feel like if the United States military would have adopted the FAL, we may not have taken the M16 nearly as fast using this in Vietnam compared to the M14.
But there was like 5,200 or something of these made for the trials in the 1950s, competed against the M14 and the AR-10. And you know, I'm of the opinion that FAL would have probably been a better choice than the M14.
Same.
I'm not a big M14 hater though. I've had one and I like them. But if we're going to go down that rabbit hole, give me an AR-10 and 280 British, we'd still be using that gun now if that's what we had adopted, in my opinion. Alternate history.
What type of stripper clips would someone use with this?
It will take standard stripper clips, but with a 5-round stripper clip, it barely hangs over the top here. A 10-round, it's up higher, but we will actually be making the original stripper clip, which is this, you know, kind of bow-shaped stripper clip. It's actually the best working stripper clip I've ever seen in my life. Like, you push it down, and it really just works. Where, like, you know, Moe's and Nagants and the SKSs, sometimes it doesn't really want to start stripping. They really nailed that stripper clip, but that will take a while to develop. It's a very unique stamping that is not really done nowadays.
You could pin that mag and have a more California compliant gun.
It's true, it's true.
Man, whose idea was this?
We were approached by the owner of PSA, Jamin,
okay.
and he had the H&R name. He loves guns. You know, we obviously make FALs. We were pretty close to being able to make that gun just by making a few changes here and there, and we worked together on a collaboration to get this thing done, and it's really exciting, and I think people are really paying a lot of attention to the show from what I've seen.
Yeah, it was when it was at their booth, it was the hit.
It is the T48.
Nice.
And like I say, this is serial number 1. This is going to be Jamin's personal rifle.
Interesting.
And when we're done on that pan, I'll show you the markings on the other side.
I like the little Easter egg on the stock. That's pretty cool.
Yep, acceptance stamp there. We'll flip it over. See the H&R markings.
Wow. Carry handle looks great.
This is a passion project for Dave Savaggio. He has an original, and he basically did everything he could and made all these new parts to replicate the original as closely as he could.
Everyone was thinking, what's an FAL doing over here? Like, it seems so out of place at the PSA booth. I didn't see this coming at all.
Yeah, we kept it pretty tight, and so did they. So, but we're looking at definitely end of first quarter, early of second quarter, and that's an actual real. That's not a typical SHOT Show, we're going to guess a date. That's looking at our production schedule and the refinement that we have to make. The wood, we still have to do a few more refinements for the large production run.
So it's definitely happening.
Absolutely.
Ballpark price?
I don't know if they're giving out a price on it yet, but it is a limited production compared to a regular FAL. And
so this is not a forever production thing. This is going to be a small.
I'd like it to be, but I think, you know, when you're talking about fitting wood on FALs and doing some of these small details, including this charging handle, which is very intricate inside because of how it works with its forward assisting function. As you can see there, it's locked together right here.
Okay.
But when you get to a certain level, the springs over and it lets go of the carrier. Those kind of details are going to increase the price somewhat over an FAL, and it's going to increase the complexity and the build time.
It's beautiful.
And we took a lot of time on it.
Do you think we've seen the high watermark of retro firearms yet? I don't think so.
I think it's just going to shift to more unique stuff, and I think some of it probably for sure it's going to level out, but then there's companies like us that step up and take that retro to the next level. And it's not just us, there's other companies that do it. We had talked about a couple of flash-off type platforms that are coming out right now.
Yeah.
I think it's still there, but it's going to have to shift to something beyond just, well, yeah, I've seen pictures of this. Some of this stuff you may struggle to find pictures of some of these guns that are retro that are going to be made in the next few years. And on the T48, for example, there was 3 main versions of this, and also a couple kind of side versions of those main versions. So I would not be surprised if you start seeing variations of the T48 once this gets out there in more hands, because the story and how it's linked up to the United States military adoption of rifles and stuff like that.
I'm sure it took a lot of work.
Yes.
It's beautiful.
Yes.
It really is cool. Well, Mark, we'll see you at Kalash Bash.
Of course.
Maybe we'll see one of these there. I know they're super limited, super scarce, but...
Well, I've been known to take some pretty expensive guns and just throw them on the line and let people try to break them, so you never know.
Heck yeah, man. Well, again, thanks for being cool. Thanks for being retro. These guns are super sick, and thanks for coming to KB. And just thanks for being such a cool person in the industry. You've been super cool to be around.
I appreciate that. To anybody interested in Kalash Bash, my first time I went was last year, and I will say, if you are a firearms enthusiast and if you love guns, which means you'll love these kind of guns and not just your average stuff we see at Cabela's every day, if you can swing it and you want to shoot, even if you're not even a big time shooter, you will fit in there. People will take you in and they'll help you and you will enjoy it.
Yeah. And LARP. You have to LARP.
Get the LARP.
All right, Mark.
Yep. Thank you.
Good to see you, man.